guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to another film review. Tonight we're looking at a British Hammer film presented by Hammer Films called Cry of the Banshees. It's not actually a Hammer movie, but it's been presented and sort of probably co-produced by them. They probably put money up for this release because it's actually been released on Hammer label. So Hammer presents Cry of the Banshee. So let's have a little look at the edition. So this is the physical release of Cry of the Banshee, starring Vincent Price on Hammer Films. This came out this week here in February. So let's have a closer look at this. Comes in a nice slipcase. This is the Blu-ray. I believe it does have a 4K release as well, but as the film's unknown to me, I'm happy with the Blu-ray. Beautiful textured slipcase. It feels really nice, soft. Nice picture. Some excerpts from the film and a bit of synopsis and whatever sort of special features are on here. It's released on Orion Films. So it comes with the original artwork. This is based on an Edgar Allan Poe film. And it comes with 2 discs. Disc 1 and disc 2. And then there's a bit in there about the restoration, about the film and the special features. But there is no booklets or anything like that in here. So that is the physical release of Cry of the Banshee. So it's a nice edition released by Hammer, but very light on any sort of like art cards, posters, booklets, or even special features. A little bit light, I think. So let's have a look at disc 1. So this is disc 1 of Cry of the Banshees. I believe the 2 discs, the first disc, which is this one, has the widescreen director's cut, and it also has 4-screen director's cut. It also has audio commentary from Chris Alexandra. It has Curse of the Ages, which is a documentary, and image gallery, and the settings, English mono or English 3.1. That is the settings. And disc 2 will have the theatrical cut and the other special features. So that's the special features on disc 1 of Cry of the Banshee. So the disc is set out just like their box sets where they have multiple discs. Like this one here has, the first disc has the director's cut, which is a bit longer than the normal cut. And it's you've got the widescreen and the 4-screen version. And just one special feature on there plus a commentary. But the other disc, I believe, has the theatrical cut of the film and a few more sort of special features on there, some interviews. So let's get on to the story. So this one, once again, is based in medieval England, and we have Lord Edward, who's his surname? Wickman, and he's played by Vincent Price, and he's a bit like a judge, and he sort of convicts loads of people of witchcraft, a bit like Witchfinder General. And the film, the first sort of 15-20 minutes of film is him wrongly accusing these sort of women and stuff and torturing them and all this kind of thing. And he's got like loads of sort of, he's got family and stuff around him. So he has Lady Patricia, played by Essie Pearson. We have Maureen, played by Hilary Dwyer. Harry, played by Carl Rigg. We have Sean, played by Stephen Chase. We have Father Tom, played by Marshall John. Bully Boy, played by Andrew McCulloch. And they're all sort of like, he's sort of like prodigies around him. And Lord Edward is sort of like, he's got this thing where he's, like I say, he's sort of blaming all these women of witchcraft. And he tortures them, and they come across one girl the maid, played by Pamela Moisenwich, who's a bit of a strange name, and she is she tells him about where the witches hang out, and the leader witch called Una, who's played by Elizabeth Bergner, and they then set out to go to where the witches are doing this kind of like ceremony, a little bit like blood on Satan's claw, and they attack them, and they attack all the witches and kill some of them, but he lets Una go. Now, Una has a sort of control over her prodigy called Roderick, played by Patrick Mower, and he is our Banshee. We'll get onto that in a bit. And he sort of like, she sort of controls him to go and kill these people because Lord Edward and his prodigy have killed some of the witches. She is getting revenge on him, and she's sending out her banshees to kill the Wickman family. So any wives, daughters, sons, she's sending them out to kill them one by one. And then the hunt is on for this witch Una, and all these sort of things go on part of the film. Let's get to my final verdict. I'm going to score this an amazing watch and give it 9 out of 10. I've given it quite a high score because I quite enjoyed the story, and it was really well acted, very, very cool. But there is a few negatives about it, and we'll get to that. But the pluses of it, the edition looks okay. It looks pretty cool. I've only got the Blu-ray. But it looks really cool, and it's a great storyline, and it's really well acted. Now, the negatives about the film, obviously about the actual release, first of all, the sound is pretty poor on it. I listened to it on the 5.1, and it was up and down, up and down. The levels weren't quite good, and it was quite tinny. The other negative about the release is the lack of special features. So, now, the other negatives is the actual, although this is sort of like kind of based lightly on what sort of things happen in this sort of age, which I must say this age is portrayed really well in there. The costumes are good and everything like that, although we do have some brick buildings, which I don't think were about then. I think it was more likely to be stone or wood. But anyway, that aside, it's the Banshee thing. So in this, we have Roderick, who plays our Banshee, plays it a little bit like a werewolf kind of thing. Now, Banshees, if you know anything about paganism and sort of British folklore and things, and Irish folklore, because Banshee is actually from Irish folklore, and it is a woman that if you hear her wailing or crying, it means you're close to dying. A banshee in their folklore it's almost like a sort of spiritual thing, where if you hear her, it means that you're close to something, you're going to be dying or something like that. So she doesn't kill anyone or anything like that. It's just that when you hear the howling or the crying of the banshee, it means you're coming to succumb to your end. But in this, it's almost like a werewolf, and it's a man, where a banshee is actually female. So that's another kind of thing that's mixed up. The other negatives about the film, it doesn't push it. Whereas Witchfinder General, it was quite gruesome. Now, there's torture, there's deaths, but they cut away, and you don't see them. Whereas Witchfinder General doesn't cut away. If they're going to hang someone, they'll hang them. If they're going to torture them or burn them, they'll burn them, and you'll see it. But in this, they cut away, and you don't really see it. Or you see the odd little splatter of blood, and that's about it. Which sort of, okay, but why have you done that? You know. But again, it's a Hammer produced film, and Hammer tend to stay away from any kind of serious violence or gore. If you look at all their films, very few, there is the odd few like Scars of Dracula that will show you the gore. but a lot of them steered away from it. Unlike Tygon, or Amicus, who weren't afraid to delve into the gore scene, or British Lion, they weren't afraid either. But Hammer tended to, so it does take a little bit out of the film. So they are the negatives of the film: is that it lacks the violence and the gore. It turns away from it, but it's a strong enough story, pulls it through. And obviously the mythological kind of history of the Banshee is credited wrong in the film, which again, well, maybe they could have thought of a different title, maybe Cry of the Witch or something like that would have been pretty cool, rather than classing it as a Banshee, because it's not a Banshee. But apart from that, it was really cool. 9 out of 10. If you've guys seen it, let me know down below what you think of it. I think it's really cool. It's a great release from Hammer. The slipcase is worth buying alone. It's a shame there was no booklet or anything in there, but I think they're starting to do, because their other releases, the big releases, being very successful. They started to release middle range titles last year, like Four-Sided Triangle, things like that. And then now this year they've started to release these kind of releases, a standard release, which is fine. It's absolutely fine, which I don't mind, because this was about £17, which is a lot better than 60, right? But it was just, not as much love or work's gone into it, which is a shame. Massive shout out to my lad. See you soon, guys.